This is Dr. Andres Enfield. He's a doctor and presentation guru. I'm a doctor, but certainly not a presentation guru. In fact, I don't think I'm a very good presenter at all. I'm fine lecturing in small groups of colleagues, but when I hit the record button for an educational video, for some reason, I have a hard time putting words together into complete sentences. Because of these difficulties, I created a personal and professional goal to become a better presenter. I'm going to take you on my multi-year journey. It all started out when I wanted to present ultrasound information to large groups of people, so I started making educational YouTube videos. They weren't very good, and I recognized that, so I wanted to make them better. I wanted to know more about effective presentation styles, and this is where my journey started. I watched TED Talks, Steve Jobs keynote lectures, YouTube videos with billions of views, and read presentation books. I started to understand how to present better, and my YouTube videos became less bad. So in this lecture, I'm going to share the best tips I've learned to quickly become a better presenter. First off, you'll notice I didn't start my lecture with a boring intro slide. It was a captivating quote, and I'm using high-resolution pictures with minimal text. Nowadays, many things are competing for your attention, and it's usually your phone, so the ability to speak passionately, clearly, and visually is more important today than ever before. Many of the books I've read are based on business presentation, and it's easier to give a lecture on a business topic and show a bunch of full-screen photos, but we're teaching medicine here, where there needs to be a much larger transfer of information during the presentation. But we can still use some of the business presentation tips and tricks, and I've adapted this lecture specifically for presentations in the medical field. Once you decide on a topic or concept for a lecture, don't just open up PowerPoint and start making slides. You should figure out the story or layout of the lecture first. Consider using sticky notes to organize your thoughts first, then the slides will come later. So design your lecture around the big question, what is my core point? There should be a follow-up question, why does this matter? And if possible, tell a story through a clinical case to present the info and add in your own experiences. Here's a concrete example. I want to create a POCUS lecture to teach the various ways to determine the left ventricular ejection fraction. So how do you design your first slide to hook the audience? Well, which one is better? This one was my actual introduction slide. It's a standard, boring introduction slide. And I would say, hi, I'm Matthew Lipton, and I'm going to give a talk about 4 methods to estimate the left ventricular ejection fraction. Or I could have this intro. EMS just arrived at the trauma bay with a critically ill man on BiPAP. He is hypotensive, hypoxic, and tachycardic. You suspect he's just about to go into a cardiac arrest. Besides the ABCs, what are your next steps? I'm Matthew Lipton, and I'm going to show you how using point-of-care ultrasound to determine the left ventricular ejection fraction will help save this man's life. Personally, I prefer the second introduction. Mr. Beast is the most successful YouTuber of all time. His net worth is over $1 billion. And he doesn't have any formal education in filmmaking, but he understands how to grab people's attention more than anyone else. No long and boring introductions with formalities, no wasted words. He would say, here's an FBI agent tied to a tree. I've got 2 days to hunt him down and kill him. If he survives, he gets $100,000. Now, that's not a real introduction, but it's probably pretty close. He hooks them early and grabs the audience's attention. And if a personal introduction is needed, it should be done after your hook. After the first slide, we need a lecture overview. Steve Jobs is widely known as one of the best presenters due to his simple yet effective communication skill. He would use this line to serve as a roadmap for his presentations, so I'm going to steal it. Bringing it back to the left ventricular ejection fraction lecture. I've got 4 things I'd like to talk about with you today, so let's get started. First, let's talk about the basic cardiac views. Second, let's talk about E-point septal separation. Third, let's talk about fractional shortening. And fourth and final, let's talk about integrating your echo into the patient's care. Now we're at the body of the presentation, and here are a few facts to help you design these slides. People cannot read and listen well at the same time. Therefore, it's more difficult to process information if it's simultaneously coming at you in both verbal and written forms. But slides that display visual information, such as graphs or high-level concepts, can be processed while listening to someone speak. Don't read off your slides. The text should highlight your important points. Don't share your slides. If someone gives you the slides, then it bypasses the creative process and the tips I'm mentioning here. Don't use crazy fonts or colors. So how do you improve your slides immediately? Well, first, remove the non-essential. text, images, anything on your slide that's not necessary. It's okay to have empty space on a slide. Designers call this negative space or white space, and it's used by high-end brands since it conveys a feeling of high quality, sophistication, and importance. So empty space is not nothing. No more than 6 words on a slide. And if more than 6 words are needed, which it commonly is for medical presentations, then animate with bullet points to have additional words or ideas appear later, as I'm doing now, so the audience doesn't read ahead. Use professional stock photo images, not crappy low-resolution ones. Use a sans serif font. These fonts are ones that do not have the small lines or strokes at the end of letters. I prefer the open sans font myself. And if you want to go above and beyond, try to fade transitions between slides. Also, create a written document to share after the presentation or a QR code at the end. Don't hand out a PDF of your slides, since your slides shouldn't work without you there. And you never copy a table or graph from an article. You'll want to summarize the table or graph into a new or simpler form to highlight your point. How about an actual example? This was my slide from my old lecture on left ventricular ejection fraction. Why is this slide bad? Well, it's very cluttered and the point is not very clear. How about this slide? It's much easier to read and it summarizes the data and gives a visual to help remember the number. The references to the studies that support the data will be in my PDF printout or in my show notes. Moving on to the summary slide. This was my actual summary slide for the left ventricular ejection fraction lecture. It is not good. Look at the various colors, the different font types, including the use of a serif font, the non-essential image of the earth. I should have removed all the non-essential information, standardized the font to a sans serif font, grouped the information into chunks of information, and if I wanted to use an image, find a high-resolution image of something to help the learner remember the information. And when you end your lecture, you should end it with a call to action or a challenge to the audience. For my left ventricular ejection fraction lecture, I would challenge them to use POCUS for the next critically ill patient to see if it influenced their medical decision making. But for this lecture, I have a different challenge for you guys. Initially, it was going to be to watch one Mr. Beast introduction and one Steve Jobs keynote speech. But for this, I challenge every one of you to update or create one lecture following some of my recommendations, such as removing non-essential words, animating bullet points, replacing your first slide for a better hook, or adding a QR code, such as this one from my YouTube channel, where I'll have the video uploaded for future reference and links to the various studies. Let me take 1 minute to talk about something beyond your slides. It's your presentation style. This is super important for in-person lectures. Number 1, don't use the podium. You're often off to the side. It acts as a barrier between you and the audience. Stand in front of the audience and walk around. On my last in-person lecture, I placed my laptop on the first row table so I was able to walk around and still see it. I was able to be much closer and connected to the audience. Record yourself giving the full presentation and then send it to a colleague who you trust for critical feedback. You want to practice your lecture so much that you're lost in the moment during the lecture, that you're not thinking about anything else and you're fully connected to your topic. You'll be judged based on 3 major things: looks, movement, and sound. Next, get a clicker to advance your slides. Don't keep saying next slide, and be familiar with the buttons on the clicker. And finally, be positive and upbeat. The audience can tell if this was a forced lecture and you're not having fun. Now let's return back to my journey to become a better presenter. I'm definitely not at the end of my journey, but at least I've climbed a few hills, and this is what I've learned. First, storyboard your lecture around what is my core point. 2, your first slide must be a hook with a story and then a personal introduction. Number 3, use an overview slide as a roadmap for your lecture. Number 4, the body of your slides should have fewer words, 1 concept per slide, and use animation so people don't read ahead. Number 5, your summary slide should briefly summarize the key points. And number 6, your end slide should be a call to action or a challenge to the audience. Thank you very much for listening. Let me know if you have any questions in the comment sections below.